And I'm presenting you an overview of sentiment analysis techniques. I'll focus on future-based sentiment analysis. I will explain in details after that. So I will start my talk by speaking about words, the elementary units of text, what's behind words and what's beyond words. Then I speak about data in the web in general, the tendency of having a lot of data on the web and what's for. I will, after that, define generally sentiment analysis from the perspective of two levels, global level and then fine-grained level. And then I'll finish my talk with presenting future trend in the field. So, words. This is what words. This is what Hamlet responded when he was asked, "What are you reading?" Hamlet was saying that these are nonsense words. But in fact, in words, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of meaning. So if we can see the different levels when we are analyzing, just as Mark have already said, a lexical analysis, syntactic analysis, if you want to analyze the different, the function of words in a sentence, semantics, discourse, if you want to analyze the organization of sentences in the text, and pragmatics to have a more sense in a common sense context. So this is already a great issue, as Mark has said, but more that there are many research now that have settled a lot of problems here. But again, behind words there is opinion. Opinion, if you want to say, I think that it's going better. And also there is sentiments, if you want to say, I'm really concerned about what's happening now in the world. And the extent now is really to analyze text from this perspective of opinion and sentiments. So now, data on the web. Now we have plenty of data on the web, and each time we have data that describe certain experience of purchase, of how consumers feel about the product that they have bought, and how they share different point of view about products, items. Also, we can find different positions of people, either in the political point of view, economic or social problems. We can also find arguments, how people argue their position, and all this will shape and influence the point of view of users. I'm sure that before going on holidays, each one will see the rating of a certain hotel to choose what is the best choice. I'm sure that before reading a book, even you can go and see the comments of people on this book. Before purchasing any product, you are going to see what people have said about this. And here, we need to know how to monitor and to understand, especially marketers need to understand how what people say about their products, what people say about their services, in order to monitor their market and target their commercial actions. So, from this perspective, sentiment analysis, or also what we call opinion mining, this is the goal and the aim of this field. Many applications, especially in market intelligence, about benchmarking, ranking different products, items, services on the web, even about recommendation systems. Now, we have the tendency, the extent that we recommend targeted products for people that have already positively commented on a certain product, and now we can see and analyze really the profile of certain people on the web, and then here we can target directly the recommendation. About financial forecast, how to predict the movement and the financial market from the perspective of messages. It can be Twitter, it can be special forums of traders, it can be even news, daily news, and from this, the measure of the sentiment of this news, we can predict how the market will be going on for next days. Also from political elections and votations here, last year we have analyzed the discussion forum of infrarouge TV emission, where we are discussing typically votations and in the French part of Switzerland. And behind the emission, people are giving their opinion in a kind of forum. And then we can analyze these messages and give some tendency, give some measures of the sentiment of people. How are they against or for this certain votation? Also, we can analyze social media from the perspective of social influence. Are there influential people in the media? Are there people that are really trying to make a lot of arguments for or against this political or this social issue? We can detect influences, followers. So this is mainly graph theory representation when the nodes are people and then the edges are relations between people, and then we can, with centrality algorithm, we can detect the most influential nodes in this network. So, finally, what is sentiment analysis? Sentiment analysis is really the textual analysis in order to detect sentiments and opinions. Giglio have given several tasks here, mainly to detect subjectivity and objectivity, to say this is subjective sentence and this is objective sentence, to detect polarity, positive, negative, to search for opinion, a feature-based sentiment as or a face-based sentence in order to really search in details what we said about each aspect of a product or an item. Even searching for opinion spams and fake reviews also is something which is very important in this field. Even we can go for opinion question answer in the sense that we want to automatically or find some answers for opinion questions. So, global sentiment analysis, it is defining from the level of a document or a sentence one polarity, either it is positive or negative. This is mainly the work which has been done for the moment now, and the methodology is typically a machine learning approach where we label a set of corpora, and then we try to train machine learning model from the perspective of this labeled corpora, and then we predict. This is the typical approach. Another approach is from scoring, in the sense that bottom-up approach, and from each word we try to detect a certain polarity or a sentiment or orientation, and then we try to make up from a compositional methodology a certain score in order to define if a sentence or a document is positive or negative. So here mainly the most useful lexical database is the CentiWordNet, which has been largely used. It is built from the basis of WordNet, and for each term we give a certain score between 0 and 1 in order to say if it is positive or negative. So here, Mark has already emphasized the different stages of natural language processing, from tokenization to part of speech technique, and these techniques are really very helpful. What is more difficult is the linguistic part. If you are going to take into account negation, or no, this is good or this is not good. If you are going to take into account intensifiers, very interesting, it's little interesting. And so conditional structures also can vary and can modify the polarity in the sense that this may be good or this could be. And then also some research have focused on discourse markers, even if this is an interesting field I didn't like it, for example. So this is very challenging field. Here I show you some existing systems from some here. This is analytic API of Microsoft. I've tried a sentence, it is a review on wine, which said not badly made, but character that you need to be ready for, strong on the palate and not much in between. So this is classified as 75% positive, which is fair in the sense that it's not bad. The same sentence was classified by Sentiment 32 API, and here we give directly a positive label. Some other examples taken from the Yelp data set, and here what you see in green is the positive description, and you see in some reviews there is mixture. So there is in the last one we speak about speedy service. Okay, this is positive, but parking can suck. So if we ask you to classify this review as positive or negative, you would say, well, sometimes it is positive, sometimes it's negative. And what is important here is not really to classify the global sentence, but rather to give what was said to be positive and what was said to be negative. So here I'm speaking about fine-grained sentiment analysis, and the aim is to move from global scoring of document or sentiment and then to go for more detailed. The aim is really to focus and to assign sentiments to special targets. And for example here, if we are talking on a watch item, it is interesting to know what is the sentiment which is commented on hands, and what is the sentiment commented on numerals. The same thing if I'm speaking about wine. I need to know what was said about the taste, what was said about the minerality. And this is really a very interesting part of research in the sense that we will have a more precise and fine-grained analysis. So this is an example taken from the application Mondovino Corpus, which is talking about wine. It is a light and fruity taste, but not enough minerality. So this is a mixture of positive comment on the taste, but negative on minerality. Another review on watches again. I found the hands of the Rolex watch luminous, which is positive and great. However, its numerals are unfashionable. And some reviews are more difficult to classify as aspects. For example, the restaurant is expensive, so here we are talking about the price, but the price is not explicitly said. And here it is from a computational analysis, it's more difficult to relate the expensive adjective to the aspect of price. So, what are the methodologies in order to do this kind of analysis. So this is an information extraction task which was subject of CERMVAL 2014. And here we can take the assumption that features are simply nouns and name entities. And then sentiments which are expressed or conveyed on these features are adjectives and adverbs. This is a very trivial definition. What I mean by feature here is not the feature what is said on machine learning, but here feature is the sense of aspect or description of an item. And here are many approaches that has been proposed. So a statistical approach where we try to find the co-occurrence between nouns and items, between aspects and item. So generally aspects are very related or correlated or with items. So in a big corpus, each time we find a noun which is correlated with an item that is commented on, this may be an aspect. Also, some were based on syntactic patterns, and here the aim really is to relate the adjectives and the aspects in order to find that the owner is not very friendly, so friendly it is related to the owner. So other approaches are based on supervised learning, where we take the task from topic detection perspective, and the methodology of LDA have been applied in order to find aspects and then to group them together because they co-occur together to describe a certain item. And then also we can find favorite approaches. Other approaches were based on mainly dependent which depends on the domain. If you are talking about an item in a restricted domain, say for example wine, we can develop our own ontology, and then we can have the aspects that describe wine. This is typically what we have made here, an ontology that describes the wine, and then the processing. We search for this kind of aspect, and then we search the adjectives that correspond to these aspects. Okay. Many difficulties in this domain, mainly the implicit features, as I have said. This is an expensive for a student. The price is not explicitly said. About features or aspects, we can describe or mention aspects differently from a lexical point of view. So, as a feature trend, I have already, so what I see, it's, there is a lot of work which will be done, which is now being doing in the emotional scientific analysis, as have been presented in the previous talk. Another important issue is how to analyze the content of the social web, and in order to detect some social behaviors such as depression, suicidal or potential criminals. And this is very important in order to solve or to react previously. Market intelligence, that is also an important domain to work on. Now most of the work have been intensively used for the English language, and suppose that a multilingual sentiment analysis is really very interesting, even cross-language sentiment analysis, as most of the corpora and database have been done for the English, so why not making cross? And then going for deep learning approach in order to detect compositionality in the languages is more a very important task. Just as reference, I mentioned the book of Being You on Sentimentals in 2015. Thank you for your interest.
Thank you, Hatem. Are there any questions? Oh, there is already a question.
Could you comment a bit on the results that you've obtained? Say the wines, can you now score wines by minerality, taste and so forth based on comments? Is something like that doable with your approaches?
Okay, no, for the moment we are beginning the project with the cooperation with the Pope, so we are trying to use their database on Mondivino, and for the moment we do not have results, but we have made results with the Yelp dataset, and in the Yelp dataset there are reviews on restaurants. And we have found interesting results, so we can see the poster which is outside. We have had found a precision, I think, of 60%, and we got about 55% of really the aspects of the restaurants.
It was interesting summarization of the topic. And so with respect to the discourse markers that you say that most of the case maybe is not so important to take them into account. But on the basis of my experience, in the case of implicit negation of polarity, like when irony or sarcasm, especially irony, is used, we found that they could help to a certain extent. So discourse markers like nevertheless, I mean, sometimes anticipated change in the last part of the polarity that on overall, in the case of irony, make the overall polarity maybe negative. So I agree with you that in most of the cases maybe they are not so useful, but in some specific cases, like when figurative language is used to a certain extent, that they could help. At least this was our experience.
Yeah, thank you. I really agree with you in this, in the sense that we have found, for example, the negation. Most of the work have reported that the negation tone doesn't have a lot of effect on the global polarity of the document or a sentence. This is true, but now if you want to move to fine-grained and really aspect-based sentimentalism, this will be important in the sense that if you find the sentence, the taste of the wine is not delicious. So you cannot, you should consider the negation in the sense, if you want. So in the sense that you are locally, analyzing. But when most of the work have reported that this is not important because they are trying to project the polarity of a whole document and sentence. And here, of course, negation is not really very, very used. It cannot change, if you want, the polarity of the whole document.
Okay, one last question, because we want to have a break as well.
Thank you for the talk. I was wondering, in the beginning you looked at a sentence and said it was positive overall, 75% or something. For me, the sentence was not positive at all. It was polite, but not positive. Basically saying like, oh, that's an interesting idea to say, I don't really agree. So I was thinking about maybe cultural context for analyzing those sentences. How do you work with that?
Yeah, exactly. So this is the remark that I wanted to listen for, in the sense that the current technology will just, project the the polarity to only one polarity. And if you find a scientist which is mixture, it's very difficult to give a score. And the solution is to not to do a global analysis, but try to search for passages or really chunks that have a sentiment which is commented on these chunks. And in this case, you will find that this part is positive, the other chunk is negative, and so forth. And the aim is not to give a global, which is at one extent is to be nullness, if you want.
Okay, so we have to postpone the other questions to the break. Thanks again.
Thank you.